Out of all the keyboard brands out there, there is no other company that appeals to me more than Akko. Being a fan of the lineup since their collaborations with Ducky, I've always wanted to pick up a keyboard designed by them. Now if you follow any other products, you know that the builds and performance and even the accessories are top notch. The only issue being that quality comes with pricing. Since they're basically another distributor for Ducky, their pre-builds will range anywhere from $100 to $150. However, landing a lucky sale, I managed to purchase one of my favorite builds for $70. Now that I received my unit, I can give you a first-hand review of my first ever Akko keyboard. The keyboard we're looking at today is called the Akko 3068 Silent Bluetooth Keyboard. As the name implies, it contains two special features that are both silent and Bluetooth. When you first receive the unit, it comes nicely packaged in a secured box. The front displays the brand and model with a layout of the keyboard itself. The side contains information of the brand and a specific switch that comes with the unit. The back provides you with complete specification of the model and everything you need to know. Inside the box you get your rudimentary accessories such as keycap puller, extra keycaps, and a USB-C wire. One of my favorite parts of the accessories is that the wire they give you is in generous length. The best part of the inclusions is not an accessory, but is a very important piece of material that all keyboards should come included with. What I'm referring to is this plastic protected tray that covers the top of your keyboard. This is to keep dust and particles from falling inside your keyboard and keeping it nice and clean after use. A lot of keyboard brands skip out on this, but I'm happy that Akko provided this for those that plan to keep their keyboards as clean as possible. Now with that out of the way, we can focus mainly on the keyboard. Starting off, you can see how nicely the keyboard is designed. From the layout and even to the color scheme, the PPT style keycaps with the nice shades of gray and blue, as well as the black plastic casing that holds everything in place. First, let's discuss what the keyboard really is. I mean honestly, I don't even know myself. It's a mini keyboard, but at the same time it's not. It's similar to a mini keyboard with the same profiles for the layout, but contains extra keys to provide you with those features of a 10 keyless keyboard without taking up more space. In this aspect, we have most of the navigational keys as well as the fully equipped arrow keys for access. All of this without the needed features of using shortcuts or function keys for activation. I won't go into details of how the layout of the keyboard is, as you can clearly see for yourself, but you can rest assured that the majority of what you would normally need in a keyboard is provided here in this build. My favorite being that the arrow keys are available for straight access, unlike mini keyboards needing to use functions and shortcuts to replicate those movements. That in itself is a plus in my book. I dislike that the right shift key is much shorter, not that I use it often, but sometimes I accidentally trigger the up arrow key when I intend to hit the shift key. With a day of use, muscle memory develops and that issue isn't a problem anymore. Being a mechanical keyboard, this build comes equipped with cherry and mech switches. You have a selection of 3 to choose from: blues, reds, and browns. Now that choice is yours to make. I'm not an expert on switches, so I'll just speak from experience here. I'll tell you what I use and how it affects my performance for activity. I've used red switches and I've used brown switches. I've never used blue switches, so I can't say anything about that. Performance wise, I notice how fast the red switches are. I play a rhythm game that requires precise timing when it comes to pressing your keys at an appropriate time. With your skills into play, you'll need a keyboard that can match your speed. When it comes to productivity, I prefer to use brown switches. When I'm editing a video, or simply when I'm typing, I have a much more comfortable feeling from the feedback after every keystroke. In this case, I decided to get the keyboard equipped with brown switches. Sacrificing the performance, I'm more focused using this keyboard as my daily driver to cover the bases of my everyday uses rather than for gaming. The keyboard supports Bluetooth and USB-C Type-C. Depending on how you want to use it, it's entirely up to you. If you decide to use it for Bluetooth, keep in mind that its feature includes a 3.0 connection. The battery holds up to 120 hours of use, which is rechargeable by simply connecting it with the USB. You'll feel a bit of latency with the response time in which the keyboard is paired to a device, but if you're using it for productivity work, you shouldn't have an issue. If using it for gaming, I strongly advise you to use a keyboard connected with the USB. I paired this keyboard with my phone, and I'm impressed as to how easily I can navigate throughout my device, similar to as I would on a PC. Using the arrow keys to select apps, Alt-tabbing to switch between tasks, Ctrl-A to select all, and Ctrl-V to paste as you normally would. There's a whole list of what shortcuts and commands are available if you're interested in checking that out for yourself. The build doesn't come included with Backlit RGB, But if that's something you want, the PCB for the board does support installing your own LEDs, but keep in mind that I haven't done this for myself. From what I can say from others, is that it's only capable of supporting one sole color of LEDs. Depending on what color you choose for your LEDs will be the color displayed in that socket. That means if you install RGB LEDs, there's no dedicated software or drivers to change the color manually. Another feature the keyboard claims to include is that it's considered silent. Now, I'm not sure what your definition of silent is, but I'm assuming that the keystrokes and taps are considered to be more dampening. Compared to other keyboards, this keyboard doesn't have that loud clacky sound every time I type. It's more of a quick and dense press that is both satisfying and soothing. You can listen for yourself and be the judge of that. Lastly, we'll talk about how this keyboard pairs and its performance for OSU. Now, that will depend on what switches you're used to. I've been comfortably playing with red switches, which allows me instant activation for every keystroke. Since this board contains brown switches, I can expect a slight delay on how I would normally perform. As you can see on my unstable meter, I am tapping much slower even though I'm keeping my normal rhythm. If you're planning to use this keyboard for gaming, I would recommend to use red switches. But other than that, it ultimately comes down to what you prefer to choose. The keyboard retails for $100 if you're purchasing it from websites like Amazon, Mechanical Keyboards, or even the official website. It's currently available at a discounted price for $70 on Banggood. They're having a promotional sale to celebrate their up and coming anniversary, so for those that are interested in doing online shopping, check to see what items are on sale for you. If you're interested in picking up any of the keyboards and accessories used in this video, I'll place the links in the description below.